Welcome back. And in a first on the CryptoVisor podcast, we are talking about the Render protocol. In today's video, we're going to be exploring the Render protocol ecosystem and also ask the question, is this a good investment? Is this a millionaire maker in the crypto space in 2024 and 2025? That's what we're going to be discussed. We're going to talk about the tokenomics. We're going to talk about DeFi. We're going to go through dashboards, and we are going to wrap up and talk about investability in the 2024 and 2025 cycle. Remember, though, nothing I say is financial advice. These are just my opinions, strategy, and thesis on the market. I could be wrong about anything and everything that I say, but I want to hear what you guys think down below in the comments. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We upload every day of the year. You can become a channel member for as little as $1.99 by clicking the join button. And I'd appreciate if you give the video a free thumbs up, especially if you are a Render holder. Now, I have been hearing a lot from my viewers. CryptoVisor, Internet Computer is not the only AI crypto. It's not the only compute crypto. Render is better. Well, when my viewers tell me something is better than a crypto we talk about a lot, we need to deep dive and understand what Render is, where the tokenomics are, because that is the key, the tokenomics of the blockchain. And so that's what we're going to be going through. Let's start here with the Render protocol. So the Render network is effectively a distributed GPU rendering on the blockchain ecosystem. They have a whole, explainer on their website. It is a little bit different than what we see in other ecosystems. And there's a full dashboard that we're going to get to in just a few minutes. But first, let's understand the basics of what is Render, everything you need to know. Now, the Render network enables the processing and rendering of high-definition 3D visual effects for artists, engineers, and scientists. The peer-to-peer network of Render connects users and allows them to contribute unused GPU resource to the network. This helps end users avail the computational power in rendering their 3D content at lower prices. By combining the rendering of 3D visual effects with blockchain, the Render network has a wide range of use cases in creative, scientific research, movie making, and metaverse creation. And so effectively, it's the first of its kind decentralized and peer-to-peer network that breaks all the limits to access GPU computational resources. With this large amount of computational power, the Render network processes high-definition 3D motion graphics within no time while ensuring the security. Its services range from basic rendering of 3D visual effects to artificial intelligence. The Render network was established in 2017 and has been doing a remarkable job in processing 3D content creation. It particularly focuses on empowering artists and helping them with required high-performance GPU power in processing visual content. But how does it actually work? The project is built on Ethereum, so it can leverage the capabilities and security of the ETH network. Another important part of the Render network is the Octane Render, which is a rendering application developed by Otoy software company. This is how the Render network is able to operate at the synergy of blockchain and the processing of 3D content creation. While the project relies on Ethereum network for data verification, payment process, and storage, Octane Render, combined with other streaming frameworks, helps in processing 3D rendering work. The peer-to-peer network of Render allows users to contribute their unused GPU power from their devices. In exchange, contributors receive their native Render utility token as a reward. Since the peer-to-peer network connects end users, they can utilize the computational power at low cost without compromising security. This is a win-win for both contributors and end users. So, interesting. Now, what are the use cases? Because I get it. It's a compute platform that uses cloud compute to help an end user create 3D content. I don't necessarily see how that ties into AI per se, as some of my viewers have said in the comments. But let's understand a little bit more. What are the use cases? Well, they say visual effects. Individual artists and studios can process large-scale 3D visual effects at lower cost with the help of the Render network. The rendering process of real-time motion graphics demands huge computational power, which is costly. But the Render network makes it possible to gain unlimited GPU processing power at relatively low prices and helps produce high-resolution virtual camera shots, movements, pans, and other effects. But I don't understand how this is being done or like fast. Like how fast is it being done? You would think a local machine, like if you have your own computer that's just a very high performance platform, that it's going to be able to process faster than using a blockchain to do it, right? Because they have to anyway. The render network makes it possible. Okay, we already got that. Virtual assets. 3D artists can create different kinds of virtual assets, from NFTs to virtual weapons for online games, with the help of the render network. The high definition quality offered by the network is of the utmost importance in today's digital world. Virtual production, apart from motion graphics and virtual asset design and creation. The render network also helps movie makers in delivering high quality pictures. The creation of large scale 3D environments in movies combined with the live action of actors is made possible with the render network. And so that's basically the general gist of what render is. Okay, so now we have to start asking more questions, right? What do the metrics of the actual network look like? So if we go to the render network dashboard, this is stats.renderfoundation.com. This dashboard is provided by the Render Network Foundation. This is the most up-to-date dashboard for Render, the upgraded Sol-based token from Render, the ETH-based token, as voted by the Render community. So there was like a swap of how Render coin was being distributed. So yeah, total frames rendered, I'm guessing that's like similar to blocks, 31.7 million. The latest burn was 584 rendered tokens at the current price of $8. Let's just do the math on that. 585 times 8, so about $5,000, $4,000 or $5,000. Latest node operator reward was 47,535 render. Wow, that's a pretty good payday. Let's see, 8 times 47,535, about $380,000. Current circulating supply 384 million. The maximum supply is 644 million. So this is kind of like a little bit of a, let's pause here for a second. Let's understand how investable is a coin where almost half the supply is still not even released. Well, to find that out, we can go to crypto ranks and then click vesting. This will show us a little bit more in depth of the token distribution. And if you look here, it's showing that only 185 million render coins have been released out of the circulating 345 million. So there's actually less coins available or unlocked than what we even saw on their dashboard, because they're saying the maximum supply is 644 million. And right now, unlocked in people's possession invested is only 185 million. That's about a fifth, about 20%, 25% of the overall maximum supply. So this makes me ask the question, well, what are the render tokenomics? And to find that, we went to the Render Network documents. It says a total of, and again, these numbers are also different than what we just read here. It's showing maximum supply 644 million. So if we look here on the rendernetwork.com, it says a total of 117 million render out of 536 million render have been allocated since the public token launch sale in October 2017. These numbers will be updated via the official Etherscan link. We'll click that. We are currently in the process of verifying everything with them to provide clarity for their users. So the circulating supply is 156 million render. The total supply is 522 million render, and the maximum supply 536 million render. But according to the render dashboard, 644 million is the maximum supply. So that's increased since it launched, obviously, which is also kind of a, let's slow down here before we think of it, whether it's investable or not. It says, as the network scales, we'll need to flow more tokens into the ecosystem. These will either come through the render reserve as user acquisitions, bonuses for node rewards, airdrops, or other future token allocations. In the meantime, these tokens are sitting in a third-party custody and escrow account. So that makes sense. And it also says the oversupply on the old contract of 1.6 billion render will be burned. So yeah, obviously there's been a lot of changes that have gone on through the render ecosystem, right? You had a public sale in 2017, a private sale in 2018, a migration from render's old contract to the new render contract. And so there's been a lot of changes. And then we have a render purchasing plan in March 2020. As announced in March of 2020, the Render Network planned to purchase 4.5 million render tokens on an exchange. These tokens would flow back to creators and new users on the Render ecosystem in order to provide an easier way to get started using Render. Now, again, as an investor, we don't need to know all the details of this, so we're not going to go through all of these. We're just kind of getting a very high level understanding, because this video, the question is this investable? Not only is it investable, but is this a millionaire maker coin? And so just reading through these tokenomics on screen with you guys and off screen as well, there's clearly a lot of questions that I still have about the tokenomics of this coin. And especially with so few coins that are in actual circulation. I mean, according to Crypto Ranks here, 35%, 185 million coins are actually vested, unlocked. People can use them. 65% is untracked by them. And you can see that that 130, 140 million was mostly vested from the token sale. But we still have this, all these other coins that I don't know whether they put in their to the side in the render reserve or what, but this is definitely, as a user and as an investor, I need to understand all of the tokenomics to make it an investable asset. And especially when there's so much of an overhang, 50% of the supply, that is potentially a huge negative. Now, in a bull market, it may not matter. I say this on a regular basis with a lot of these tokenomic conversations. In a bull market, it may not matter because the inflow of new money is going to outpace the outflow and people selling, until it doesn't and people start selling their coins or they start releasing coins. So if you're looking at it as a trade, yeah, it's probably, from what I'm reading so far about, its unique positioning in the blockchain space, I would say, yes, it could be a trade, a good trade. But as an investable, long-term investment, I don't necessarily know just yet. I'm not yet sold. So let's do a little bit more digging and a little bit more understanding. So yeah, there's an emission schedule. You can see the emissions versus the burns, minting versus burns. How much total burn? 50,000. It looks like the total number is. It's not that much. But especially when they're minting millions and millions, you could see in December of 2023, it looks like the Render protocol minted 10 million Render coins. November 8th, they minted 7 million. November 7th, they minted 5 million. November 3rd, they minted another 5 million. So why is so much Render being minted every single week? That's a lot of coins, right? And so that's another kind of question mark from an investment standpoint. Now, there may be reasons behind it that I just don't fully understand. But again, as a kind of general investor and analyst, a lot of this stuff needs to be, the more complicated it is, this is the way I'll put it, the more complicated it is, the less likely it's investable, in my view. Everything needs to make sense and be understandable, right? And so if we look at the Dune Analytics dashboard, we can get a little bit more insight into the Render ecosystem. Now, keep in mind, some of these are delayed by about a week, but you can see Render on Ethereum, the number of Render tokens on Ethereum. These are holders, 87,000 holders. The number of Render on Polygon, 20,000 holders. So between these two protocols, Ethereum and Polygon, you have about 100,000 individual holders on those ecosystems, which is a pretty good number. That does show that there's obviously usage and an ecosystem of users. And then some of these other, let's see, they're talking about the migration from the Solana chain. I think Render originally was on Solana, now it's on Ethereum, or vice versa. Again, for an investment analysis, doesn't really matter. So yeah, that's basically all of the charts. It's some of the same charts that we just went through: the burn and mint mechanism, individual burn, circulating supply. Yeah, so you can see here the circulating supply in April is about 39 million coins. So again, if we go back here, It's saying 185 million coins on CryptoRanks. So CryptoRanks has different data than Dune Analytics, which has different data than Render Protocol's own knowledge base. And so from a tokenomics perspective, it really is not investable. I mean, there's too many questions around the coins and about how many coins are locked and unlocked. And listen, guys, maybe I'm missing something here. Maybe I'm missing something, but from a tokenomics perspective, it's not investable. But with that said, we're going into a bull market. And so does it really matter, right? Does it really matter? Because yes, the AI narrative is becoming big in crypto and out of crypto. And so this decentralized computing power, like I understand why people view Render similar to Internet Computer Protocol. But from a very high level overview, what we're doing today, it seems like yes, like Internet Computer can cloud compute, it can process bandwidth, it can be similar to like an Amazon Web Service or Google Cloud, right, and have that processing power from a more secure standpoint. And Render is similar in that aspect because you can utilize basically cloud computing to help your GPU, I guess bandwidth, I guess that's what it's called, their compute power. But Internet Computer already has live AI on chain. They already have interoperability on chain. They already have chain key or chain fusion technology on chain. They already have DAOs and swap platforms and a lot of that. And I'm not, again, as a trade, I think Render Protocol is there, and I definitely see promise for the future. But they have to get the coin and the tokenomics figured out, and they have to release those coins because this is too much of an overhang. It's too many coins overhung, right? Especially if you look at coins that have been around since the last cycle that had these issues previously as well. And one of those was Solana, right? Solana in 2020 and 2021, most of the coins were not vested, right? Because the billionaires got in at ICO, so nobody could touch the coins. So there was a huge overhang that eventually these coins were going to be released. And when they're released, these billionaires that got them for 25 cents are going to sell them at $250. And that's exactly what happened. But now we're in a different cycle. We're not in 2020, we're in 2024. And so Solana, 87% of the coins are completely vested. I actually think it's closer to 100%. Because they're saying 10% is untracked, but I also think some of that is FTXs and Alamedas. And so those coins, where are they? I don't know. What are they going to happen to them? I don't know. But for this video, it doesn't even matter. We are in a different cycle. And so I am not saying that I'm not going to invest in Render because we are at or at least approaching some of these lows that we had. If we go under $2, which is where we were in the beginning of 2023, and even in the end of 2023, right before the run up, right? If we retrace to $2 or below, in my view, there's no question. Yes, it's investable at that point for a trade. Because are we going to reclaim $14 at some point during this cycle? I would imagine so. I would imagine when we have quantitative easing, more money printing, and maybe some more positive sentiment in the markets, the AI narrative and the data compute and cloud compute narrative, that's going to probably pick up again. And Render can do really, really well in that. So what we're going to do on this channel is as we're doing these exploring videos and going through a little bit deeper into what these coins are and what the tokenomics are, what the DeFi is, where the price history is and all of that, we're not just going to stop there. We're going to continue to follow up on Render because maybe within a month of me making this video, maybe even by the time you're watching this video, I already bought Render for a trade. Maybe I got clarification on the tokenomics and it makes more sense at this point to actually invest and own the coin. So we're going to do follow-ups to Render definitely on this channel because it's not uninvestable in my view. I don't know necessarily long-term investment. I would say like short to medium it's definitely a potential that I'm putting it on my crypto watch list to potentially make an entry point. Again, anything close to $2 or below, I think would be a very good entry point just looking at this chart and looking at the pre-pump pricing. Anyway, I'd love to hear what you guys think about this. Do you own Render? What am I missing? What do I need to do more research on in the Render ecosystem? And what is your analysis of Render? Is this investable? Do the tokenomics make sense to you? Are you buying it? Are you holding it? Long, medium, or short term? Let me know down below in the comments. While you're down there, give the video a free thumbs up. If you're not already a subscriber, why not? Click that subscribe button if you think this information was helpful and you want to become a channel member for as little as $1.99 a month. Click the join button down below. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Crypto on.